Welcome to the Level Up Show, episode 14. I have a fellow Canadian today, Mahara Wayman. Welcome to the show. Let's get into it.
I am so excited. Thank you.
We want to level up, right? This show is all about level up. And when we had a really brief conversation, you were very open and honest, vulnerable about you're not there yet in your eyes, and that this is a little bit more difficult than Instagram makes it feel.
Oh my God, so true. And I think it's a testament to my perseverance that I'm actually still doing it because 2.5 years later, I'm still showing up. And I'm really proud of that. But along the way, I've struggled with wait a second, I'm doing everything that you told me. I'm doing everything that people have said, but I'm not seeing the results that I think I should be seeing. So it's been a struggle. Absolutely.
I'm doing everything that people said. I wonder how many on this listening can relate. For so many of us, I know for myself as well. What? I bought your course. What? I was in your coaching program. You said do this, this, and this, and it's not working. So your mindfulness, tell me a little bit about how I have a feeling that that's how you're getting through this time. Tell me a little bit about the mindfulness.
Well, the first thing I want to say, full disclosure, is I chose the name because of the alliteration. I
Oh,
do practice mindfulness, but I have grown into my name, if that makes
mhm,
any sort of sense. Because,
mhm.
but I think the action of choosing it sort of indicates how I chose everything on this journey. Because I just went, oh, I want to do this. What should I do? Oh, I got an idea. I'll do it without any real thought process of the consequences. Because truthfully, it never occurred to me that people would think I was a mindfulness coach because of my name. Like, how stupid is that? I just liked it. I am mindful. I understand the practice and I do the practice. I just don't coach the practice. So, but what I have learned is that being mindful isn't enough. That's just one component to being happy. It's by no means enough. Being mindful in my business is important, but it still isn't a strategy. It it still isn't, um, it still isn't what's the word I'm looking for? There is no secret ingredient. It's just a component of living it's a smart way to live your life is to be mindful, but it is not the be all and end all, as in my opinion. Does I hope I'm not shocking anybody with that
Totally
statement.
agree. And I love that level of truth because there's mindfulness coaches out there, or there's a lot of this mindfulness meditation yogis, right? This is the way to build a business. Tell me a little bit more about what you mean by it's not enough.
Well, what I have learned, and this is big for me, was as I entered the arena as a very together, articulate, interesting, creative woman, I believe that I just needed to be that way. And I chose to speak a truth that I thought my clients wanted to hear versus my actual truth. And what I mean by that is I went about everything backwards. Okay, I'm a coach, I'm a motivational speaker, and I'm an author. I'm a great girl. What does the world need? Oh, I think the world needs this because I can articulate that really well. I'm good while doing it. But what I've learned is I needed to do the inner work first because what came across, while it sounded great, number one, wasn't really me, but the entrepreneurial journey on its own was bringing up things that I hadn't dealt with. So while the outside looked great, it wasn't aligned with me. And the journey itself was bringing up challenges for me where I would, post all of this great stuff and then sit at home going, "Shit, now what? What? Wait, it's not quite working." And then I would get panicked and just challenged. So I don't even think I answered your question.
Oh, it was brilliant what you said.
Okay, I'm gonna stop there then.
I worked with coaches. I was part of the International Coaching Federation in Vancouver on the board, etc. It was communications. And I'll never forget the coaches that would come in, and I was shocked at the level of pretending that was happening was overwhelming for me. And I remember it almost pulled me out of the game because I was like, I don't, I don't, I don't understand. I feel this way. How can you? I thought there was something wrong with me. It was that part of that new coaching thing where nobody tells you the inner work that you were saying. Like a lot of coaches, I think, do exactly what you were doing. And that's, oh, yeah, I'm smart. Let me teach you this versus really powerful. That's
And let
incredibly
me live it's been a journey. And I wanna be very clear. I'm not dissing my ability as a coach. I'm a great coach.
mm,
But I bought into the BS that being a good coach was enough. And being a good coach meant that if I just did A, B, and C, I would have the beautiful reward of a, six-figure income just like that. And that was not my truth. I've always been a good coach because I had years of training with Weight Watchers and it was amazing. What I didn't have years of training with was dealing with my inner. And I think there's a misunderstanding in the world that only people that are outwardly depressed and crying and throwing tantrums and losing it need support. I'm here to tell you everybody needs a coach because I was never that person. I was very successful, but it wasn't until I started doing the work that I realized, wow, I've got stories that don't serve me. And I need to deal with those stories to help me be the best CEO of my business that I can be. It's not that I needed to deal with them to be a better coach, because, it is possible to have your demons and still be a great coach or a great therapist or a great runner or,
right,
whatever. But as far as being a well-rounded entrepreneur with a realistic view of what it takes to build your dream business, I needed to do that inner work. And it took me, it's taken me a couple of years to sort of admit that and do the work. And now I'm like, when my triggers come up, I know better how to deal with them, right? And I'm not quite as hard on myself that I haven't had those, those massive 10K months yet. Yet.
right,
No, yet.
right. Yeah, yet. So, what was the some of the inner work that you started doing?
Oh, great question. So funny story. I'm certified as the Mastery Method coach. It's a year-long program with Alyssa Nabriga. And that method is based on what we call Sembu. So we look at, I'm trained to do somatic work, emotional work, mental, behavioral, and unconscious work. So lots of tools and lots of modalities to support clients. The business component of this was the second half of the year. And full disclosure, when I joined and in the first meeting with 300 people, Alyssa shared that we would do the business part of the second half of the year. I rolled my eyes. Oh, God, I just want to learn how to make money in this business.
Mm,
If I already know how to coach, right? I've had other training. And she explained that she just felt it was really important that all of us go through and understand these modalities first. So right away, we started practicing with each other. And some of the things that came up for me very quickly were that I had a money story that was not supporting me. So I have learned how to somatically connect with. So for example, in the day when somebody says something, I say something in my head. Well, of course I didn't get the refund. Of course I owe money for taxes, of course. And I'd have a clutch in my gut. So one of the things that I've learned to do is when I have that clutch and I realize I've said something about money or my ability to earn it, I just take a deep breath and um, I do a particular exercise to sort of calm myself down. And I forgive myself for buying into the misunderstanding that I am not, able to do this or that whatever the misunderstanding is, because I fully believe that many of us create stories from misunderstandings in our youth. And I didn't even realize this, but the human brain doesn't stop forming until you're in your early 20s. So really, it's very, very common for us to as little children to look at a situation and go, oh my God, 2 + 2 = 17. It's plus 2 = 17. And all through the rest of our lives, we have this belief that 2 + 2 is 17, or this person doesn't like me because I did this, or I'm not good enough because I got yelled at 3 times by my mother. So that's one of the biggest things that I've learned is to recognize that my body holds everything.
Yes.
And it's okay. I'm not a bad person because I'm afraid of this. I'm not a bad person because I believe that I should be quiet. That's just a belief, and I don't need to believe it anymore, and I can let it go.
I love the word misunderstanding. That feels very loving, right? 2 plus 2 is equals 17 was just a misunderstanding. It
No, and you
wasn't
better.
something somebody did to me that was horrendous, right? It was just I misunderstood. I misunderstand things all the time, and I think I can forgive myself very quickly for misunderstanding. But when I railroad myself right into shame around it and things like that, and then have to find a person to blame for that, right? Because that's sometimes what I'll do. It feels much quote unquote easier to get through. It gives me a path to kind of start to walk down.
And that's exactly what this type of work, and that's the work that I do primarily with my clients. That's what it's all about. It's recognizing you're not a bad person. You
Right.
may have done bad things. You may have thoughts that don't serve you, but that doesn't make you a bad person. I truly believe we are all, we're all children of the universe and we're here doing a hard thing, which is to be human. Way easier to be a soul than I think it is to be a human. We're here to
Right.
learn. And when we can forgive ourselves for the human experience, it is easier to have the human experience.
Right. Right. I love that we are part of the universe before we're human. Or how did you put that? You were
I think that we're all spiritual beings that are having a human existence. And
it's
it's much
easier to be spiritual.
Yeah, because that's the easy part, like, "Oh my gosh, I'm a spirit, I'm part, I see that I'm part of everything, I'm part of the energy, and I'm loved, and I'm
Yes.
perfect as I am." It's when we're it's when we are born into this life as humans that we begin to question. I had a really well, I don't not sure that we wanna go down that road because it's quite woo-woo, but that's how I choose to believe that life works, so but
Mhm.
it didn't come easily, this idea of forgiving ourselves
Mm.
because it's a habit, right? Sometimes we're just so used to beating ourselves up, or we say things and we don't even realize how nasty they sound. I
Right.
used to beat myself up a lot for my appetite and my weight. I would make a joke out of it. And finally,
Right.
my best friend at the time, she just kind of put her hand on the table, slapped it, and said, "Oh, for God's sakes, I'm sick to death of listening to this." And I'm like, "What? What's going on?" I had no idea. And she said, "Do you even hear yourself?" I'm like, I honestly don't know what you're talking about. And I have just gotten in the habit of being derogatory about myself.
It's just ran like a
And
recording.
like a dialogue. And because I felt, and I think many of us may feel this, it's okay for me to make a joke about myself. And if I make the joke first, if
Yes.
somebody else agrees with me, then it's okay. Then it's not, it doesn't hurt because I've given the world permission to view me as a greedy guts who eats more than anybody else at the table.
I would do it so that I beat you to the punch.
Yeah, that same idea. I'd beat you to the punch. And I've always felt that I met when I was in the arts, when I was younger, I worked with a lot of really funny people. And interestingly enough, the funnier they were, the more difficult their life was. And I saw a correlation, right or wrong, that sometimes we use humor to deflect pain.
Absolutely.
And
I
I
was
definitely did that. I mean, I didn't have that difficult a life, but I still managed to find to try to be funny about the things that were the most painful for me.
mm. You hear that a lot with comedians. You know, Robin Williams is an example amongst many others. It's usually that they're very their take on life comes from such a dark place, I think, sometimes. Uh, but the humor, yes, I would deflect as well. If I made it funny, then you couldn't engage in a conversation with me about how I feel about myself, right? Kind of idea, right?
Well, you're setting the stage. You're basically saying to the world, look it, I don't want to talk about the fact that this is how I feel. I'm just going to make it very surface, very funny. So you laugh and move on.
Yeah. Move on. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're not going down that
Yeah.
road.
None of your business. Move on. And
Right.
beautifully, my friend at this time said, I'm not taking that anymore. And that really was a wake up call for me because I, honest to God, hadn't realized. It's like when I'm only now beginning to realize how much I swear. I hadn't
Oh,
really realized.
oh, I
So
cursed
it's,
Tyler Tucker. Yeah.
well, I do too, but I'm trying. Well, it doesn't matter. But it's just one of those things that really it was a wake up call that there was work that needed to be done. And when she did that, it was long before I even knew that coaching existed.
Mm.
So I didn't really know what I would do with that other than try to be conscious of the conversations because I'm talking 15, almost 20 years ago. We've been friends for a long time.
Wow, what an amazing gift she is to.
Oh, she's an amazing friend. And I laugh because I say, just so you know, world, if I ever get arrested, it's Catherine's fault.
Yes, it
So,
must
you
be.
know, it's gotta be. I'm definitely with her. She's my only friend that could possibly get me arrested. Just saying.
I want to circle back to a word that you said earlier, somatic.
Mhm.
I just recently heard that word. I've been in and out of therapy and coaching in that for years, and it was always very head talk kind of idea. And recently, with some struggles that I'd had, I learned about the somatic, and I wish I would have known about it when I was young. What a gift that is to. I was cut off at the neck. I think that's why I was so head, so funny, so all of this, because I was, and it's still challenging to get to how I feel. How do I feel? So,
I was the same way. I didn't know the term until I took this course. And what I love about there's 2 things that really have become very important to me. One is recognizing what I'm feeling in my body.
mm,
That the second part of that is, what is the story I'm telling myself about what I'm feeling in my body?
right.
Because the 2 are so close together. And for many of my clients, all the most we can do is just acknowledge that there's a feeling. It can
Yes.
take weeks to actually understand the story that you are telling about that feeling. So, but somatic work is, I mean, it's so simple and yet it's so effective. When I first heard about it, I was kind of like, what are you talking about? I've had butterflies in my gut from the day like, I can't remember not ever having this feeling of butterflies. So I don't understand. But the more practice I had with it, the more I understood that really when I sit quietly, I personally like to put my hand on whatever part of my body is feeling the energy and I breathe into it.
Mhm.
When I allow myself, when I give myself permission to stop overthinking or stop thinking totally and trying to figure stuff out, then I notice the feeling and I'm able to just sit with it. And for most of the time, that's all that's needed.
Right.
Um, there's some scientific proof that says really within 90 seconds, the feelings dissipate if you just let them. It is our relationship to the feeling that keeps it there.
Right.
But when we can just let it be, the feeling naturally just moves out of our body. And I know that sounds wackadoodle. I get
Mhm.
it. But you just need to sit with it to experience it. And what, the flip side of that, what I love about the work that I do is I'm a writer and I love the English language and teaching my clients and teaching myself how to accurately label the feeling was mind blowing because so many of us just go through life going, I'm stressed. I'm not happy. I'm stressed. Yeah, but what are you really? What's going on in your world? And then after much discussion, maybe it gets down to, well, actually, I'm just embarrassed because
Mm,
my clothes are too tight, or I'm embarrassed because, or I'm disappointed because my daughter can't make, lunch with me. So when we give ourselves permission to really identify how we're feeling, it's so liberating to actually name it.
right.
'Cause so name it, you're like, oh, disappointed. Well, disappointed isn't nearly as bad as stressed.
Right.
Feeling stressed about all of the different things that you're having. But if we can really pinpoint, okay, what is that? So for example, right now my stomach's a little clenched, but it's just happy excitement that I'm on this
Mm,
podcast. It's not fear or disappointment or anxiety. Like it's none of those things. It's just, oh, I'm feeling kind of excited. And I'm able to recognize that now. A year ago, I would have been, God, that's killing me. And I
mm,
wouldn't have tools or even the foresight to actually sit quietly and question it.
right. I started this journey probably from the day I was born. Just wanting to be different than where I came from. And I never really understood how to do it. I just knew something had to be different. I didn't believe in a world where this would happen to a little girl and she would be in this family. Like, it just didn't make sense. It didn't make sense. I knew there had to be something about it. So I've been on this journey like my whole life. And the first time I remember anybody talking about body was just check in when you're sitting in your chair. And I just did it right now. My feet were clenched up on the bottom of my chair. I was like, oh, just relax my feet down. But I wouldn't even check in with my body on that level. Like, how's it doing in the chair? Never mind, how am I actually feeling? I didn't know what do you, I couldn't even, it's- I can't even barely put the words to it now because it's still so new for me. I went through a recent treatment of something that I'll talk about on another day, but the ability now, they taught me how to go through this. So the first thing I had to do was slow down. I would go from appointment to appointment to appointment to the next, the next, the next, and then just that. And I had no space for myself to even start to inquire. And now I want to slow it down even more. Like, at first I was so scared to slow down because what's going to come up, right? And then, like you said, it's 90 seconds. And then I feel such joy after, such relief, such like it's gone, but it's been there for 40 years, right? So it's like, whoa, I can do this again. So more space, more space, more space. And then I got to a place just the last couple of days. Well, I don't have that drive anymore for my business that I had or I thought I had, right? Like, don't I have to pack it for 400 hours a day and, do all of these things? How's it going to work? How are my dreams going to come true? So there's a real faith that I'm sitting in right now and understanding that without me, we have nothing, right? Without me, and I wanted to die. I just wanted to die. I was like, I can't do this one more day. I labeled it as anxiety. I was just so anxious. I felt like I was on the edge of like something and I was just going to blow. Like, I just felt like I was either going to fall off the face of the earth or I was going to just lose my mind. I felt I might go crazy. Right. So I was constantly clenched and like this all the time. And the simplest tactic that I've talked about before, and that's how I can really relate to what you were saying about I can tell you what to do, but I wasn't doing it. And it was breathing,
So powerful.
just a breath.
So, so
Sometimes I
powerful.
need 3, sometimes I need 20 minutes, but sometimes it's just, and I drop almost immediately now out of my head into my heart. And I'm like, oh yeah, no, this is going to be great. Just keep
Have
going.
have you read that poem? I could probably pull it up, but it's just beautiful. I mean, it's really stunning. I think I can't I may be author unknown, but it is about a conversation that the head has with the heart. It's actually written by John Rodell,
Okay.
and it says, "My brain and heart divorced a decade ago over who was to blame for how big a mess I have become. Eventually, they couldn't be in the same room with each other. Now my head and heart share custody of me. I stay with my brain during the week, and my heart gets me on the weekends. They never speak to one another. Instead, they give me the same note to pass to each other every week, and the notes they send to one another always say the same thing. This is all your fault.
Mm.
On Sundays, my heart complains about how my head has let me down in the past. And on Wednesdays, my head lists all the times my heart has screwed things up for me. In the future, they blame each other for the state of my life. There's been a lot of yelling and crying. So lately, I've been spending a lot of time with my gut, who serves as my unofficial therapist. Most nights, I sneak out of the window in my rib cage and slide down my spine and collapse on my gut's plush leather chair that's always open for me. And I just sit, sit until the sun comes up. Last evening, my gut asked me if I was having a hard time being caught between my head and my heart. I nodded. I said, I don't know if I can live with each of them anymore. My heart is always sad about something that happened yesterday, while my head is always worried about something that may happen tomorrow, I lamented. My gut squeezed my hand. I just can't live with my mistakes of the past or my anxiety about the future, I sighed. My gut smiled and said, in that case, you should go stay with your lungs for a while. I was confused. The look on my face gave it away. If you're exhausted by your heart's obsession with the fixed past and your mind's focus on the uncertain future, your lungs are the perfect place for you. There is no yesterday in your lungs. There is no tomorrow there either. There's only now. There is only inhale. There is only exhale. There is only this moment. There is only breath. And in that breath, you can rest while your heart and your head work their relationship out. This morning, while my brain was busy reading tea leaves and while my heart was staring at old photographs, I packed a little bag and I walked to the door of my lungs. Before I could even knock, she opened the door with a smile, and as a gust of air embraced me, she said, "What took you so long?"
I got goosebumps.
Isn't that beautiful?
So true. When I'm breathing, yeah, it just changes everything. But I would, even when I was really struggling, I would notice that I would stop breathing.
Mhm.
They just cut off all life source. Just
Breath is everything, people. Without it, we're not here. With it, we have a chance.
and it would,
Have
when
a
I say
chance.
we, I mean me, I mean all of us. Just a couple of breaths every few minutes, like just a big one, and put it into our hearts, I think is a really great step in the right direction. And I think we might need guidance to help us through some more of the work, because and you're a trained therapist, so you'll know the answer to this better than I will. But as a coach, I always knew that I needed to ask people questions that they wouldn't be able to ask themselves, or space enough to give me give themselves the answer. And I think it's the same with a lot of the therapy and things as well. It's almost like you can't tickle yourself. I don't know if you can do all of the work, because that outside person sitting and asking those questions and guiding is, I think, is really powerful, so that we can be the one on the other side of it that's doing it versus asking of it.
Oh, I agree. I agree. And I just want to
Between-
clarify, I'm actually not a therapist. I'm trauma informed. I'm not trauma trained.
Okay.
I do call myself a coach. But to your point, there's a huge difference between knowing something academically and in your brain and ego and knowing it in your heart and in your body. And I have so many friends that are coaches now that when I call them, I need help. Can you help me through something? I just need you to hold space for me. And
Mm,
I'll be the first to admit that 3 years ago, I didn't know what that meant. What do you mean hold space for you? What are you talking about?
what
Right.
is
But
that?
now I understand. Um, I understand the difference, and I understand the power that comes with being truly seen by another person. When my kids were young, one of the I made a list of 10 things to do every day for them that sat up on our fridge. And one of the things was um, tell someone you love them, wish a stranger a nice day. And the list is quite long and beautiful, but what they've learned from that and what I've learned from experience is when somebody that I don't know looks me in the eye and smiles, in that instant, I matter
Yes.
and I belong. And it's one of the things that I love so much about the work that I do is it doesn't take a lot to create a space where somebody feels that. And it's looking at them
Yes.
and ways to just be, whether that be being is crying, laughing, silence, questioning, talking, singing, dancing, just being, because we are, well, I think one of the greatest things that humans do is to connect with each other.
Yes.
Mhm. That's what we want to do. So, to your point, learning how to sit quietly and breathe, learning how to get help from someone else, even if that help is just, oh my God, can I just sit with you for a minute?
Yeah.
For a minute? And
Sometimes.
if you're okay with it, can I tell you about my lousy day?
Yeah. Yeah. Just sit with me. So how do we get
You
a
know,
hold of you? Tell us a little bit about how we reach you.
well, I am much to my I'm laughing about this. I am on Instagram. I'm on social media, and I'm chuckling because when I decided to be an entrepreneur, one of the things that I learned was, the power of social media. And my coach said, "You got to get on Instagram." And I'm like, "Insta what?" And I phoned up my daughter, who would have been, she's 20 now. She would have been about 17 and a half at the time. I said, "Sweetheart, can you get mommy on Instagram?" She's like, "You're not on Instagram?" IG. I'm like, "No, I don't even know what it is." She said, "You're a loser." Oh my God. So I am, my handle is at mindfulness with Mahara. I am on Instagram. My website is mindfulness with Mahara. So I can be direct messaged either through Facebook, my webpage, or through Instagram. I'm also on LinkedIn at mindfulness with Mahara.
And do you have any programs or coaching that you'd like to tell people about?
Oh my goodness. Well, this is kind of funny. Yesterday I was told, maybe you have too much offerings. Maybe you need to just narrow it down and be more just focus on one thing. But I'll quickly tell you what I'm doing now and why I love it so much. My first group program, because I love group coaching. As I mentioned, I used to work for Weight Watchers. I'm very comfortable in a group container, navigating and supporting and facilitating. So my first group program was called Build Your Best Badass Life, because I am your badass coach. A few months ago, I designed something called brand intensives as a very quick way for me to earn some money and deliver what I can do with my eyes closed. It's really easy for me, which is help new coaches with their branding. I'm So I can tell your story. I'm a great storyteller. I'll ask you questions. I'll write your story. I'll help you get very clear on what it is, what your values are, and what you want your product to represent. And if you need it, I'll also help you with colors and fonts in Canva. So I created this brand intensive. And then I thought, God, why don't I put the two of them together? Because if I put them together, this becomes the course that I wished I'd taken 2.5 years ago. Because the bulk of the course, the main juiciness of this course is, let's deal with your inner stuff. Because it's really hard to be an entrepreneur, or it can be if you haven't dealt with the inner work. So the bulk of it are things like, let's get real clear on who you are, what you want, and what your challenges are, because we need to do the inner work. Let's look at your mindset. Let's look at your ability to set clear boundaries. Let's talk about your courage, whether you think you have courage or not. And let's redefine what courage means to you. And let's learn how to set goals that actually work for you, not against you. Because
Right.
many of us will set goals that are so unrealistic, me included,
Yeah.
that we end up being disappointed when we can't do them. So, this program that I now have is all of the inner juicy work, topped with some very basic branding skills, questions to ask yourself. What do I want my business to look like?
Right.
And it's not about your favorite color. It's about the message that you want the world to know about you. Because as an entrepreneur, you're the brand.
Yeah.
You're the brand. I firmly believe that I could not create a badass business or a badass brand until I felt badass myself. And that came after
Yes.
doing the work, understanding what my triggers are, understanding what my story is. So I currently have this beautiful program. I just launched it, Build Your Best Badass Business. But I'm not a business coach per se, because I think you will find that's just not my expertise. I'm still finding my way. But my expertise is in helping you to uncover your story, learn tools to help you navigate all of that uncomfortable stuff that comes up, learn how to set amazing boundaries. Basically, I teach my clients how to be the CEO of their life and their business.
You need all of that before you build the brand. And everybody wants to go to colors first. And it's the exact opposite. So I'm very excited about that program. So we'll link all of those details down below. Thank you so much for being a guest. I can't wait to
You
date. We're going to meet in person. I just feel it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This was a ton of fun. So, Pamela, thank you so much. Great conversation. Really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.